Hello everyone and welcome back to PropWay. I know some of you were worried that I was gone for a couple months. Well, don't worry because I am back today with a brand new tutorial. And this is a special one, Wolverine's helmet. Now this may be a spoiler about Wolverine's suit in the upcoming Deadpool 3 movie, so click away if you don't want to know. But there have been a few leaked promotional images that show Wolverine with his classic helmet, as seen here. Now the trailer doesn't show that, and there have been no official Marvel posts showing this helmet, but I love the design and this is the one that I based my helmet off of. And I'm gonna show you how you can make it too. Everything you're gonna need to make this helmet is gonna be in the description below, so that's materials, glue, paints, and of course the template. So without further ado, let's get on with the Wolverine tutorial. I began with an old template that I had built for my Miles Morales helmet. Obviously, I added in different eyes and a cutout for the mouth, but the overall head shape is the same. I cut up the helmet into different sections, and this is how I create the template for the new helmet. Once we have those sections cut out, we trace it out onto some black EVA foam. In this build, we'll be using 5mm thick foam for the main head structure and ears, but the smaller detailed eyebrow pieces will be 3mm foam. These here are the four main pieces of the head, and it's basically just two sides that are mirrored. Now we take our handy heat gun and start heating up the pieces. You don't want to heat it too much or else it'll burn, but once you see the texture and color start to change, then you know it's good. The purpose of heating it up is to seal the foam, which will help later for painting, but also allow us to bend and shape the foam. I use this expensive cup with a rounded top to help me get a nice dome shape to my foam. This step is absolutely crucial to get a smooth, round head shape, so don't skip this step. Now we can start gluing pieces together. This weldwood contact cement has been my go-to for all foam projects. All we have to do is apply the glue to every seam that we plan to join together, and that means both edges of the seam, so basically one side here, and then we're going to glue them together. As you can see here, I started with the front of the face. And now we can go on and do the top of the head. As many of you may already know, the way to use contact cement is that after you apply it, you want to wait about a minute for that glue to dry slightly and become tacky, and that's the point at which you can join the pieces together, and the bond should be super strong. And here we have the main base of the helmet complete. And it only took 4 pieces. So moving on, we will be connecting this nose piece to the face. It's important to fold the edges of that nose so you can get nice sharp edges to it. Now we can put in these eye pieces, which add some depth so we don't just have a gaping hole. And this is what you should have at this point. Okay, so quick check-in. We have kind of the base of the foam helmet done. The next part that I'm going to be working on is going to be the big kind of wings that come out of the side of his head. So what I did first was I sketched out like a rough template on some of this poster board. So I'm going to cut this out and then we're going to transfer that over to foam. Here you can see a general idea of how those large ear pieces will sit on the mask. You're more than welcome to trim these down or make it larger depending on the look you want. I prefer my helmets to be a bit more practical, so I trim these down a bit to be a little bit more sleek. When you have the shape you like, we do our normal routine of tracing, cutting, and heating. Throw some contact cement on the face where the ear will connect to, and then also onto the back side of the ear. And now we can connect the ears to the helmet. So now will be the more detailed work on the mask. We're gonna take these eyebrow pieces here, and as you can see, these were cut at a really strong bevel, which helps get those sharp angles we need. Now we just join those two pieces together and glue it right here to act as the eyebrows of the mask. Moving on, we're going to add in these pieces which sort of act as the cheekbone. Once that's glued in, you'll notice there is a gap right here, but that's important for adding a nice non-flat shape. Here, I'm just trimming out a piece to fix the shape a bit because PropWay is not perfect. No one is. Now we glue in the upper piece of the cheekbone, and as you can see, that really completes the facial structure of this mask. And it makes it a lot tougher and cooler, and all the other good adjectives. And the final piece of foam that we will glue in are these triangles right on the side of the nose. Okay, I lied. The last pieces of foam are actually going to be these two pieces that are going to squeeze in right behind the ears, and this acts as a spacer between the head and the ears and makes sure that the ear doesn't flex in or out too much. Finally, the main structure of our helmet is complete. The next steps will be working on the final finish of the helmet. You can see here I sketched in some details with pencil on the ears, the jaw, and forehead. And I'll just take my X-Acto knife and start scoring those lines, making sure not to cut all the way through the foam. Now if we heat up those lines, they'll start to open up and we'll get those details to show up very nicely. With a lot of my recent foam helmets, I've been filling up some of the seams with this Alex Flex flexible spackling. Basically, you just have to fill in some of those gaps and smooth it out with your finger. I like using the spackling because it's flexible, which is great for foam, it doesn't smell, and you can use water to help clean up the seams and smoothen it out. I let that dry overnight before I started brushing on this Mod Podge to seal everything one last time before paint. After the Mod Podge dried, I used this black acrylic paint for any part of the mask that required black, which are the ears, eyes, cheeks, and nose. For the main yellow of the helmet, I used this yellow acrylic paint, or so I thought. So I started brushing on the yellow acrylic paint onto here, and honestly, it's just taking way too many layers. This is already, I think, maybe 4 layers in, roughly 4 layers in, and you're still getting a ton of streaks and just kind of inconsistencies. But I don't have the patience, and I really just kind of want to get this paint job done. So I'm just going to go the route that most people take, and I'm going to spray paint this thing. I'm going to use this yellow gloss spray paint, which is the only yellow that I have. This might not be 100% accurate to the color of Wolverine's mask. We're going to try that out, and hopefully it works out. Once that yellow paint is dried, you can remove the tape and do any touch-up work. I had to touch up the black paint, which wasn't a big issue. And now we are so close to being done. So unfortunately, I was not able to record a few of the last steps of this helmet, but I'm going to walk you guys through it right now. You may have noticed that this helmet has a super glossy finish to it. I took a gloss spray paint and I just covered the entire thing just to act as a protective coat, but also adds a really cool final look to it. Another thing that I added was these white mesh eyes. Now these are just a white plastic mesh that I cut out small squares and put it right inside the mask. As you can see here, these are just taped in. The reason I taped them in and didn't glue them in was because I wanted the option to remove those white lenses in the event that I wanted to wear this helmet without my vision obstructed. So the tape is just a temporary fix for that. If you wanted to add magnets or if you just want to glue those straight in, totally up to you. And lastly, I added this elastic strap that connects these two jaw pieces. Basically what that does is when I put the helmet on, it allows those jaw pieces to really hug my face and give the helmet a much nicer fit. It's totally optional for you guys depending on how you want yours to fit, but this is just elastic that I contact cemented onto the inside of the foam. And that is it for this Wolverine mask tutorial. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Feel free to share it on social media and tag PropWay. I would love to see your work. Feel free to subscribe, like this video, comment. I would love to hear your feedback. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.